this video, I want to show a little bit about how we format fields that have been calculated using aggregate functions in queries. So in this video, I'm also switching over to Access 2013 for those of you who might be using it to kind of see the interface. It's very similar, but there's a few little differences here. So in this, we're still in Dunder Mifflin. I opened up the relationships view so we can see the different tables here. We want to create a query in this case where we're calculating the average order quantity, the volume, the average size of the orders in terms of number of items per state. And we'll use the state name, which is in the state description field. So if we look at that, quantity is in order details, state description is in state. We'll also need the customers table and the orders table in order to connect those together. So let's create our query. Create query design, and we'll pull up those four tables. We'll pull up state, customers, orders, and order details. Just check to make sure they're connected. They are, and that's great. All right, the next thing we'll do is we'll bring down the fields that we need. We want state description, because that has the name of the state in it. And then we also want the quantity, right? Now, we don't want just the quantity. If we run this, you'll get all of the quantities for each individual order, and that's not what we want. We want to aggregate these fields. And so we'll add in our totals row, hit our sigma button, and then we will change group by to average. Now while we're at this, we might as well change the name of the field because it's not really quantity anymore, it's average quantity. And so this is now the average quantity field. Now you might notice when we run this query that it works. It's changed the average quantity for the field, and some of the fields you can see the number on, but other ones you see just pound signs. And what those pound signs mean is that, well, we've done some math, and we actually did, averaging, including division, and there's a bunch of numbers after the decimal point. So many that we actually can't even see the whole number. So if we make this column a little wider, then we can see those values. We can see, well, yes, okay, that's accurate. We calculated the quantity to those decimal points, but it's hard to read. It's much easier to read like these numbers that are just 2 decimal points. So what we do, we'll format this field so that it's a little more readable. At the same time, why don't we sort descending just so we can see what's going on here. The way that we do that is after we run the query once. Access doesn't know what kind of data is going to be in those fields. It doesn't know that it's a number with decimals until after you run the query because it hasn't calculated that beforehand. And so after we've done that, let's click in this column, average quantity, and then open up our property sheet. Property sheet is up here on the design tab. And then under property sheet, we have a few properties that we can set for this field. 2 of them are going to be important here. So we're going to set the format of that particular field. In this case, we can set it as a general number, which really isn't much of a format at all. We can set it as currency. In this case, volume is not currency. We're not talking about dollars. We're talking about number of items. We can set it to a different currency. In this case, euros. Fixed, standard, a percentage for some things that are percentage, and we could put it in scientific notation. So depending on our situation. In this case, I kind of like the standard notation. It adds those commas in there to help us, read large numbers. Now, standard just adds those commas in. We actually also want to change the number of decimal places, in this case to 2. So now that we've changed that in the property sheet, if we rerun our query, we now get the average quantity to be sorted in descending order and in the format that we want.